Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe and tell your friends about this podcast. I'm very pleased to welcome the beautiful IFBB Pro Women's Physique competitor, Bree Sellers, to the podcast. Bree earned her pro card just a few weeks ago at the North Americans in Pittsburgh, and I think she has a very bright future in the sport. Stay tuned to learn more about her. Welcome, Bree. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So my first few questions are about how you got started in bodybuilding, and I was wondering if you had an athletic or sports background before you started.
So honestly, where I'm from, sports aren't like huge around here. I mean, there is some, but I really wasn't into sports much. What really got me into, honestly, bodybuilding was I had a really rough pregnancy and I'm 5'1" and I gained almost 100 pounds.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So honestly, I started the lifestyle of losing weight and getting back into shape before I found bodybuilding. But once I started to kind of lose weight and get into shape, I saw people online, because bodybuilding is not a thing here. I stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
But I saw it and I was like, that would be an awesome goal. That would be an awesome thing to work towards. And that's kind of where it started for me.
That's terrific. Mention where you live now too?
Yep. I live in Dickinson, North Dakota.
And that's a small town.
Pretty small.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got lots of cows and buffalo and pheasants.
Really?
Up here. Yeah.
And you mentioned about driving 100 miles to go to Bismarck to go to a regular bodybuilding gym too, huh?
Yep. I actually drive 100 miles once a week or twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week to train legs down at the Oxbow Gym in Bismarck. The gym actually sponsors me. So it's my home gym away from home, I guess you could call it. So I drive down there to be able to utilize all the equipment that I don't have access to here in town.
Wow, that's great. That's a lot of dedication to drive that far, but I understand though.
Yep.
Now, how did you get started in bodybuilding and who convinced you to do your first contest?
So Dana Lynn Bailey, I saw her physique online and I started following her on Instagram. And honestly, she was like my inspiration. When I first started, I was like, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's going to take me to look like that, but I want to look like that. So she was kind of my inspiration. And I hired my very first coach, which I was just lifestyle at the time, but she had previously done bodybuilding in her younger years.
Okay.
And so she had just kind of talked a little bit about it. And as I started to follow and watch people on Instagram, because bodybuilding is not a huge thing here in Southwestern North Dakota, I was like, that might be something I'd be interested in. It's something that a goal. I'm very goal orientated. And I wanted to change my physique. I wanted to be muscular. So that's kind of how it started, or where it originated.
Oh, that's terrific. Yeah. Yeah, you had mentioned that Dickinson there's not many bodybuilders there, right? It's kind of
No. I'm the first WPD women's physique pro. So
really?
in North Dakota. Yep.
Oh, wow. That's so cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're kind of a pioneer for the state.
Yeah. I'm making history.
And Dana Lynn Bailey shows up or is mentioned so many times on this podcast, but she has been a really big inspiration for so many competitors. So, and as the first Physique Olympia competitor or winner, I should say too, she's really impressive, I think, in that regard.
And she's just such a good human. Like, she lives in Montana, which isn't very far from North Dakota, but she's just such a good human, like all around. I mean, she's got an amazing physique. And her journey to the stage was awesome too, but she's just such a good person, and I just look up to her highly. So.
Oh, I didn't realize she lived in Montana too. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Now, I was curious, when you first started competing, were you nervous getting up on stage, and did you have, do you get nervous these days?
So my very first show, so I've only competed 4 shows.
Okay.
That was it. I competed 2 my first year, which was last year in 2022. And then I competed in 2 this year.
Okay.
My first show, I went to the NPC Twin Cities Open show in Minnesota.
Okay.
And that was by far my favorite show this far. Like, it was so much fun. But when I got there and I signed up, and they gave me my little number button that you pin to your suit, it said number 1. And I was like, does this mean I don't get to watch anybody else before me?
Uh-huh.
I really wanted to watch somebody else. And they're like, nope, you're first. I'm like, oh, great.
Oh, wow.
So I was standing there and I was nervous because I didn't have anybody to watch before I went and did it. So it was, I just winged it because I had, you know, it was my first time. So, but it went great. It was fun. That was the show I I took the overall. So I was able to go to a national show after that.
Very good.
But yeah, I did get nervous that show. North Americans, because I went to the North Americans in 2022. And I took third that time. And to be honest, North Americans just run so smooth. Like it's so smooth that I really wasn't nervous there.
Okay.
And then my third show was this year in Vegas for USA's. Okay. And that show just wasn't run as smooth. And I was very nervous backstage. Really? Okay. But then again at North Americans this couple weeks ago, it was again very smooth. Nerves weren't there, and it was just a very great show.
That's terrific. Yeah, I think Gary Udit does a really good job, and he kind of bills it as the most comfortable show in the world. But I think that's really true because I've heard that from other competitors.
Yes,
that's terrific. Very cool. Now, what was it like to earn your pro card at North Americans? I bet it was pretty exciting, huh?
You know, sometimes I don't give myself credit for like all the work I put in. And, you know, this goes off on a tangent a little bit, but this last year after North Americans, my dad was diagnosed with end-stage kidney failure.
Oh, wow.
And so this last year, we had to put him on dialysis, and he just turned 60 in July. Yep. Wow. So he's pretty young, and it was a very long year. Prep was, you have to dig pretty deep when it comes to national level shows. It's different than the amateur level. Mm-hmm. And there were many times I contemplated pulling out just because that's a lot of stress on your body. Plus I was dealing with dad stuff, and my dad said, "What are you going to do? Sit and hold my hand? Mm-hmm. Go get it done." So when I was standing on that stage, and I've watched the video 100 times over, I had no expectations. Obviously I wanted to win, but I had no idea. There was another girl in the division. She was much larger than me, and I honestly didn't know. I knew we were both splitting center, but when they called her for second place, I was in shock, and I just covered my face, and I was in shock. But it made the entire year that was pretty hard. It made it worth it.
I bet. Yeah, I'm sorry about your dad, and but yeah, that's good that you stuck to it, and that he wanted you to stick to it too. And yeah, that's really inspiring, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now, where do you hope to make your pro debut, or do you know yet?
So I don't have an exact show picked out. I've been thinking about like next fall. I really want to put size on my legs. I want to put size all over, but I need to make sure that I do it in a way where we don't completely lose conditioning, because getting into condition is really hard for me. So I have to push really hard, and I'm really just hoping we can add size, lean mass, so then I can have a shorter prep. This prep was 36 weeks.
Okay. Wow. That's
quite long.
Yeah.
That was long, but I'm hoping that we can keep our condition, and really nail this reverse, and hopefully by early fall, or maybe midsummer, kind of pick a show and do it like in the fall.
That's great. That sounds like a good timing too.
Yeah.
That'll give you time to grow and stuff too as well. Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah, I bet the conditioning is really tough. And I think that as a non-bodybuilder, that would be the toughest part, I think, is just
these women's physique ladies and women's physique. And I really like women's bodybuilding too. So someday, if I am able to put on that much size, I might cross over into women's bodybuilding. But women's physique, it's a beautiful physique, but when they come in on stage, they're hard as nails. They're hard as nails. Mm-hmm. And that is it's possible. It's just a very hard thing to achieve. It takes a lot of grinding.
Yeah.
So
I've heard from some ladies that it's like hard to sit because it hurts your butt and stuff.
how many times I nailed, and I wasn't even as conditioned as I wanted to be on my backside, but how many times I sat down in the bathtub and hit my tailbone.
Oh no. Oh. Oh.
I got a donut for the bathtub to sit down because I would forget and I'd sit hard and it would hurt really bad.
I bet. Yeah. No, it's good to have a donut. Yeah. Maybe one that doesn't float.
Pro tip.
That's a good pro tip. I like that.
Yep.
I was curious, do you like to bring your family to your bodybuilding contest? Because it's always good to have a little cheering section there, you know?
So my first show, my whole entire family came, including my son. And that was super fun. Show was only about 8 hours from me, so we drove.
Oh,
the national shows, there's none near us. Like there's none around here. So I, with my dad being on dialysis, it's just a little bit harder for him to travel.
Yeah.
So I haven't brought him. Plus my son, he's 9, so he doesn't really quite understand that you get somewhere like 5 days early and then have to sit and not do anything on peak week. He's like, why can't we go and go swimming or go do fun stuff and all the things. So I'm hoping next year he's in a little bit better, maturity space to where he can come, because he really does. My family really is my circle and my support system. Great. And at this past show, my sister and my husband came, and if you watch the video, you can hear my 2 people that were there for me. You can hear them loud and clear.
That's awesome.
In the video.
Oh, that's very cool. How about, do you get the live stream for folks, or let people to get the live streams?
Yep, I always post that on my social media. I am like a lifestyle coach, online lifestyle coach. Yeah. So I have a lot of people that, cheer me on from home and cheer me on from wherever they live. So a lot of people did get the live stream, and I did get it for my parents so that they were able to watch it as well. It's a lot clearer than your face or your lives off of your phone.
Oh, so many contests too won't even allow you to record anyway. Yeah, so it's good to be able to have that. Yeah. I was curious, what feedback are you getting from the judges in terms of where to improve your physique?
So the feedback I got, which I knew ahead of time, was I needed to bring my legs up. They wanted wider lats, more delts, more arms. They said I was pretty balanced if I bring my legs up, but they wanted overall size. Okay. So I plan to just grow my whole physique. That's the plan. That's the game plan that I have put in place. Yeah. And conditioning to come in more conditioned and harder. Okay, great. And did you approach the judges? Because I think it's good to approach the judges and get their direct feedback. Yep, I talked to 3 of them, including Sandy. So. Oh, good. Yeah, yep. That's really good feedback. Yeah, definitely. Very cool. That's great. Yep. Now my next few questions are about competition prep, and I was just curious, what's the toughest aspect of prep for you? Following a meal plan, to me, simplifies things. I don't have to guess things. I don't have to try to play Tetris with my macros, so that's easy. Yeah. Training, I love training. But when you have a child, it does throw wrenches into the mix per se. Just because I get up a lot of times by 3 or 4 a.m. to get my fasted cardio done. And then I got to get changed and get ready. And then my son gets up, I got to get him ready, get him to school. And then I get back to town. Then I go to the gym and I work out, and then I come home and then I work, and then I do more cardio and get more steps in. And so it's working around your family. In my case, it's making sure that you do the best you can to have balance, because when you're in prep, you have to your cardio, your training, your food, your steps, your sleep, your recovery, all the things. But in the mix of all the things that take up your whole day, you really have to make sure that you're present in your family as well. Or you should make sure that you're present with your family as well. So I think balance and figuring out where to put my energy and, to make sure that I'm spreading it evenly through the things. Now, when you mentioned going to Bismarck, when do you usually go? Like in the evening, or? So my husband, he is the director of the Cashwise grocery store here, and he has Thursdays and Sundays off. So we take my son to school on Thursday and we drive straight to Bismarck and we train and then we come back. Okay. And on Sunday morning, we get up and we drive to Bismarck, and then we come back. And my son stays at my mom's on Saturday night. So
oh, nice.
I have him Sunday morning while I train down at Bismarck.
Yeah, that's cool. When you said 100 miles, you meant 100 miles one way, right? Wow. Oh my gosh, that's really challenging, huh? But
yeah,
that shows
but,
some real dedication.
The guy that owns the gym down there, he's become a pretty close friend, and he has a really cool thing going on. It's not a huge gym or anything, but it has everything you need. Yeah. And it's just a gym that's geared towards, I mean, there are people there that work out that aren't bodybuilders too, but it has all of the things you need that bodybuilders really need.
Great.
It's hard to work. We do have a powerlifting gym in town, and I do use that one during the week, the rest of my week. They have limited equipment right now. They're looking at upgrading their space, moving to a bigger space and getting some more equipment. So right now I make do with like upper body days and back days and stuff there. I just do my legs down in Bismarck.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. You mentioned that they're sponsoring you too?
Yep. The Oxbow Gym is sponsoring me out of Bismarck.
Oh, cool. We'll have to mention that. I'll mention it in the comments down below too. Yep. That's very cool.
Yep.
We already talked a little bit about the bodybuilding community in Bismarck, and but you said, I mean, in Bismarck and in Dickinson. It sounds like there's not a lot going on in Dickinson per se, but it's a small town.
Yeah, there's a handful in Bismarck. I would say a handful over there. The guy who owns the gym, he has actually working towards July's show in the Twin Cities next summer, and he's going to go and try to get nationally qualified there.
Okay.
And I know that there's a bikini pro athlete in Bismarck, and a handful of other ones that are in the amateur league still, but that's really it. There are a lot of people that live the lifestyle per se, and they like go to the gym for the aesthetic part of it, but not a lot of them actually go to stage.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah. That's just, I would think just being part of the end of a smaller town, and and North Dakota is so small too, just population wise and stuff. So
yeah, we're pretty small over here.
Is North Dakota where you live? I know I've read about some of the boom towns that have popped up from like the oil sands. Is Dickinson like that at all, or no?
So Dickinson was, I mean, we have definitely expanded over the last couple of years. And if it weren't for that, I wouldn't have met my husband, because we had Walmart and Albertsons, Dan's, small towns. We didn't even have a Cashwise, or Colborn's is their big name. But before the boom, it was even smaller and more safe, if you want to call it that. But we did get quite a bit of growth when the boom happened. I would say Williston area and Newtown area probably got hit a little bit harder with that, but we definitely did have an influx.
Really? That's interesting. Yeah, I bet. I read that the whole state kind of saw a bit of a rush. Yeah, on new people moving in and such. So that's really interesting.
I mean, a lot of people assume that it would be cheap to live here, and it's actually really expensive to live here.
Really?
My sister is currently looking for a place to rent in Bismarck because her boyfriend is a physician and he just signed a 3-year contract. So they're trying to find a bigger place to stay in. And she's looking anywhere between $2,500 and $4,000 a month in rent for like a duplex, like a townhome type deal.
Really? Wow, that's expensive. Yeah, I wouldn't think it would be that much. Wow.
And that's rent. That's just rent.
Wow, that's crazy. That's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting. I wouldn't expect that.
Yep.
Huh, very interesting. I just had a few miscellaneous questions. Now you mentioned your son is 9 years old?
Yep.
And what does he think about your bodybuilding career? Is he really supportive?
So you know what? The first show I ever did, he came and he's seen me living the lifestyle. He's seen me posing and, all the things, but he really didn't fully grasp what it really meant. And when we went there, he was my biggest cheerleader. And, we've had some rough years. I ended up getting a divorce about 7 or 8 years ago now. But he has been my biggest cheerleader. And no matter what I set my mind to, he's always supportive of it. And my favorite thing is when he tries to mimic my posing. I'm like, do I really look like that? But he recently has taken an interest in, I mean, he plays baseball, plays football, but he really wants to like start working out, and we don't have the best genetics in our family.
Yeah.
So for him to take an interest in that, I've really been trying to be an example, and he's finally at a place where he's like, I want to go, and I want to work out. So I have him in a class a couple nights a week where they just do more or less like conditioning and things like that, just a HIIT class kind of thing, sports conditioning and stuff like that. But he deadlifted trap bar deadlifted 115 pounds yesterday.
Wow.
And he was so excited. And today he's like, Mom, my hamstrings hurt.
Wow, that's really impressive. That's terrific.
Yeah. So it's been pretty cool to watch. He's kind of coming around. So
yeah, I bet he's really inspired by you too. So and now that you're turned pro, I mean, that's a big deal. Yeah.
Oh, when I didn't get pro at my last 2 national shows, he would say, I don't know how you didn't win, Mom. You were the best one up there. I don't know how they didn't pick you. I know, buddy.
That's super sweet. Yeah, you got to support your mom. I mean,
the truth from the 9-year-old, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I was curious, in terms of dealing with the transition between competition shape and off-season shape, do you have any like kind of body dysmorphia issues?
So to be honest, this is like my first reverse where I've done it the right way. So I've been keeping pretty good conditioning. This far, I'm only 2 pounds up from stage. So I'm feeling really good, and we've got food in, cardio's down, my body's responding really nicely. My last reverse, I came home to a fire, my dad's health and all the things. And I did probably eat everything that you can imagine in my cupboard. And stress ate, all the things. And I put on weight fast. I can put on body fat really quickly. That's just how I'm genetically put together. My husband's the opposite, which is frustrating sometimes. But I do, it does, I would say this time seems a little bit easier because I've attained my goal of my pro card, and I know what I need. I know I need massive growth to be able to get back on stage and hold my own next to the ladies in the professional league. And I don't want to stay lean and not grow, so that when I get up there, I get last call outs. Yeah. So it is a mind game. I've learned you just have to have a section of clothes for prep, and you have to have a section of clothes for off season, because if you're trying to wear your prep clothes in off season, you just don't feel very good about yourself.
Yeah, I understand. So, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yep. That I've talked to a few women bodybuilders, and it's just tough to have clothes that even fit you, just and you're just running through clothes all the time. And
yeah, you just wear pump covers.
Yeah. Oh man. No, that works though.
Yep.
It's not really healthy to stay lean year round, and I don't think people necessarily realize that too.
That's something I try to be pretty transparent about online, because there are competitors that try to stay stage lean year round, and they don't ever really make much growth. But B, you're not healthy inside. You're not thriving, staying that lean. Don't get me wrong. I wish I was genetically made up to have abs popping year round, but I'm just not. And I've accepted that, and that's okay. As long as I can, only put on the amount of body fat I need to in order to grow, I think that's much better. Last year I shot up. I was 120.3 on stage, I believe, at North Americans last year. And by the end of my off season, I was 165, 164. Wow. So I put on a few pounds really quickly. But it just wasn't comfortable, because I put on the wrong kind of weight right away.
Yeah, so. I understand. Yeah, that makes it that much harder to recover and get leaner again for the next year too. I imagine. Yeah.
I created a lot of work for myself.
Oh man, now you know too.
Yeah, I know better. I'll just look at the goodies and eat my chicken and rice.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, is your husband also a bodybuilder? And if so, have you ever competed in the same show as him?
So he's not currently, I mean, he lives the lifestyle with me. We train, we eat the same food. I mean, obviously he eats a lot more than me, but he is made, he's built naturally thin, and he always stays naturally lean. Like the guy maybe walks around at 8%, 10% body fat year round. And
Really?
yeah, and he doesn't, I mean, he doesn't really like dirty foods per se. He'd rather eat chicken and rice versus greasy food from fast food anyways. He's the opposite of me. Let's just say that. He doesn't even like sweets. I'm like, what is wrong with you? But anyways, he actually just hired a coach, and he is thinking that he would like, he's 44, and he's thinking that he would like to try to get on stage as in the 45 and up division, the masters. So he's going to try to put on some more mass, and see what we can do with a really good push phase. And he is contemplating getting on stage. And honestly, we haven't done any together, obviously, and now I'm in the pro league, so I'd have to get him there first. But we do everything together. So I will go to shows, and we're really, if I didn't have him, I definitely wouldn't have made it through the prep. So.
Oh, that's terrific. That'd be great too if he could do the first show like that too.
Yep.
Yeah. So he'd have to put on some size though. He's already got the leanness.
Yep. He's about 200 and he's 6 foot tall. I'm going to try to push him to 220, 230.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense for, 6 feet tall. That's pretty tall.
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Y'all could do mixed pairs. Did y'all?
Yeah.
I don't think mixed pairs exist anymore, but I'd love to see it again.
Yeah. He's done a lot of work. He used to be very, very just skinny. And he's got, everybody asks him if he's a bodybuilder.
Really?
And he doesn't see it in himself. Just doesn't. And, I finally just convinced him, I'm like, let's just hire you a coach, and let's just see what we can do with an actual push phase. Like, let's just try it. Yeah. And so he actually just started today. He got his program today. So.
Oh, wow. That's terrific. Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah. I wish the best for him too.
I'm so excited to watch. We're going to grow together, and I'm super excited to watch because he's really excited about it. So it makes me excited.
That's terrific. That's great. Yeah, very cool. I bet he was super excited about you getting pro card too.
Oh yeah. He knew it was a huge goal of mine. And he, like I said, there were many days where a lot of times I'm like, just push me out of bed, make me get up. And he would push me out of bed, and I'd go downstairs and do cardio. So like I said, I don't know that I could have done it without him or my parents, to be honest. They take my son on the weekends, which enables me to rest and recover and, take care of my body and stuff like that. So I really do appreciate it. Well, I really do appreciate my circle. And I know that, if it weren't for them, I definitely wouldn't have made it. But you can hear it in the video. Both my sister and my husband were loud and proud, and I held in the tears. I didn't want to cry because I knew I had to go back out for the overall, but it means the world to me to know that they have my back. So
that's super sweet. That's great. Yeah, it's good to have that support, and that'll help you. Yeah, help you in the long run too. So, now I was curious, if you were in a leadership position with IFBB or NPC, what would you do to try to improve the sport of bodybuilding and try to make the sport better?
The national level shows, I think they could. Now, like I said, North Americans was run great. If they were running behind or anything, you didn't know. Like, you had no idea. Now, the other national show I went to was not run that great, and you did know that they were behind. It was pretty stressful on us athletes, and stress is not what the athletes need. So I think just better time management, as far as like moving athletes through and things like that. And, I've run into it at a few shows now, and I try to always be like a good sport. Like, I already know what it feels like to lose. I've lost at a few shows, right? And it's not what you go there for. You don't want to lose, but you can't win them all. And it's just whoever shows up and who the judges like the best, or what fits the criteria or whatever. But sportsmanship, like, I think there needs to be like a I don't know if they could do some sort of like WebEx or something talking to the athletes about sportsmanship, because I'm always back there like hyping people up. I'm like, you're going to get this. Good job. Like, go get it. I'm slapping people on the butt. Like, good game. Get this. You know, I'm the hype person, because it doesn't matter how mean I am to somebody backstage. The judges still get to decide who wins.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true. Yeah.
And there's people that are the opposite, and they're back there giving dirty looks and making mean snide comments and things like that. And or they go onto social media and they post things that are disrespectful to our judge panels or the other athletes that they compete against. And it's just an ugly thing. And I really wish that maybe they held a higher standard, or they could figure out how to hold a higher standard for the athletes.
Yeah.
Just so we're all treating each other well.
I totally understand that. I think that makes sense. And you could even almost like a webinar or something like that to promote good sportsmanship, and I think it would make sense for an accrediting sports agency like that to do something like that too. But
that, and just to encourage the athletes to just, be nice and hold them to higher standards, because really we're the face of the league, whether you're in the professional league or the amateur league. Like, if it weren't for us athletes, there wouldn't be a bodybuilding show. So I just feel like they should be able to hold them to higher standards, and I don't know how exactly they would do that, but that would be really the only two things that I would be able to come up with.
Sure. I totally understand that. I think that's good advice too. And I do think I have heard from other folks about, backstage folks are kind of mean, or just not nice. And
we all just suffered for how many weeks? Like, doesn't matter how mean we are to each other back here, the judges still get to decide out there.
Yeah, you're right.
And
there's so few people that reach that level, so just why not celebrate everybody who made it that far? That makes sense. Now I was curious, do you like to show off your muscles in public, or do you prefer to stay covered up? I mean, you're in North Dakota,
So I'm really weird, and I get looked at a lot because I don't like pants. I like shorts. Even when it's -40, you're probably going to catch me, unless I have to stay outside for like a extended period of time. You're probably going to see me running from my truck in shorts to the gym.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I just don't like pants. I mean, I'll wear them if I have to, but I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah.
I hate jeans. But to be honest, I wear like whatever I'm comfortable in. Like I said, if I'm feeling good about myself, like if I'm in prep and I'm feeling good, I'm usually wearing a sports bra and shorts. When I don't even own regular clothes. Like, I'm weird. I just wear gym clothes all the time. But if I'm in off season and I'm feeling a little fluffy, like sometimes I'll just wear a pump cover with my shorts. But I just wear whatever I'm comfortable in. And honestly, being one of the very few muscular women, and I put quotes there because in Dickinson, there's not very many muscular women.
Sure.
So you already get looked at as you're weird anyways, because you're going against the social norm.
Yeah.
Which I'm used to, because I used to wear like cowboy boots and shorts, and so I got stared at for that. So like I'm pretty used to it. But I wear whatever I'm comfortable in, and I do get lots of comments. I get compliments, and then I get negative remarks too. But I show off what I've worked for. I've worked really hard. So
that's terrific. No, I think you should show off what you work for, and you look really good anyways. So definitely. And if you can inspire others too, I mean, that's a good thing as well.
With my online coaching business, I mean, obviously right now, most of my clients are lifestyle, but I do have a few up and coming people that have been coming to me that want to work towards a show, even if they're 1 to 2 years out. Okay. And it does, I think it helps when you're in a leadership role to walk the walk and not only talk the talk.
Yeah.
So if you have people coming to you and asking you about, wanting to get toned, that's a huge word in the lifestyle community.
Yeah.
I hate, but it is. They want to get toned and stuff like that. You need to be able to show that you know how to do it, or you were able to do it for yourself and others. So I believe that that's really part of it, is, walking the walk as well as talking the talk. So
Yeah, very cool. I agree with you on that. I think that's really important for a coach too. But
Yep.
well, Zoom's about to kick us off. We're about
Oh,
almost out of time, but it was really great
perfect.
speaking with you today, and thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me on.
Thank you. And I'll get this posted relatively soon and tag you and everything. But thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bree.
Bye-bye.
Bye.